Imagine you are sitting at your desk, the soft glow of your monitor lighting up the room, and you are just minding your own business. You click on a link that a friend sent you, or maybe you download a file that promises to speed up your computer. Everything seems fine for a few seconds. But buried deep within the electrical pulses traveling through your processor, a silent, invisible coup is taking place. Your files are being locked away, your passwords are being harvested, and your webcam might have just quietly flicked on without the little green light ever showing. You haven't just encountered a glitch. You have been visited by one of the most sophisticated predators of the modern age. We are talking about malware. Short for malicious software, it is the digital equivalent of a shadow world that lives right alongside our own. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on this invisible battlefield. We are going to explain every major type of malware in detail, from the classic viruses of the 80s to the terrifying AI-driven threats of tomorrow. We are breaking down how these digital parasites work, how they spread, and how they can turn your own technology against you. If you have ever felt like your computer has a mind of its own, you might be right. Let's dive into the mechanics of digital infection. To understand malware, we have to start with the ancestor of them all, the classic computer virus. People use the word virus as a catch-all term for any bad software, but in the world of computer science, a virus is a very specific thing. Think of it like a biological flu. A virus cannot survive on its own. It needs a host. In the digital world, that host is a legitimate program or a file. When you run that infected program, the virus hitches a ride on your CPU and starts executing its own hidden instructions. Its primary goal is to replicate. It looks for other files on your hard drive and inserts a copy of its own code into them. Back in the early days, viruses were often just annoying pranksters that would make your screen flicker or play a strange song. But today, they are far more predatory. They can corrupt your operating system, delete your precious photos, or slow your machine down to a crawl. The defining feature of a virus is that it requires human action to spread. You have to open the file, run the program, or share the USB drive for it to move to a new victim. But what if the software didn't need your help to spread? That brings us to the worm. If a virus is a parasite, a worm is an autonomous invader. Worms are standalone pieces of software that don't need a host file and certainly don't need you to click anything. They are designed to exploit vulnerabilities in network protocols. Once a worm gets onto one computer in a network, it immediately starts scanning the local area network and the wider internet for other vulnerable machines. When it finds one, it sends a copy of itself across the wire and begins the process all over again. A single worm can infect millions of computers globally in a matter of hours. You might remember historical examples like the Morris worm or the SQL slammer, which effectively slowed the entire global internet to a snail's pace. Worms are terrifying because they demonstrate how interconnected and fragile our digital infrastructure really is. They turn the very cables that connect us into highways for infection. Now let's talk about deception. This leads us to the Trojan horse, or simply a Trojan. Named after the legendary wooden horse from the gates of Troy, a Trojan is a master of disguise. It presents itself as something useful, exciting, or necessary. Maybe it's a free game, a video codec you supposedly need to watch a movie, or a system optimizer that promises to make your PC run like new. You willingly download it, you willingly install it, and you even give it administrative permissions. But once it's inside the gates, it reveals its true nature. Unlike viruses and worms, Trojans don't usually try to replicate and spread to other files. Instead, they open a back door. They create a secret entrance into your system that allows a remote attacker to log in whenever they want. Once they are in, they can do anything. They can browse your folders, upload more malware, or use your computer as a launchpad for attacks on other people. The psychological sting of a Trojan is that you were the one who invited the predator into your home. This brings us to one of the most profitable and devastating forms of malware today, ransomware. Imagine waking up to find a large red clock ticking down on your screen. You try to open your work documents, your family videos, or your financial spreadsheets, but they are all scrambled. Every single file has been encrypted using military-grade mathematics that would take a supercomputer 1,000 years to crack. A message tells you that the only way to get your files back is to pay a ransom, usually in a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. If you don't pay within 48 hours, the price doubles. If you don't pay within a week, the decryption key is deleted forever, and your data is lost. Ransomware has moved from attacking individuals to targeting hospitals, schools, and city governments. It is a digital kidnapping where your own memories and hard work are held for ransom. It is a cold, calculated business model that has turned cybercrime into a multi-billion-dollar industry. While ransomware is loud and aggressive, the next type is a silent observer, spyware. The goal of spyware isn't to break your computer or demand money. It is to stay hidden for as long as possible while gathering information. It sits in the background, quietly monitoring your every move. Some forms of spyware are keyloggers. These are particularly dangerous because they record every single keystroke you make on your keyboard. Your bank login, your private emails, your social media passwords, they are all captured and sent to an attacker's server. There is also info stealers, which look for saved passwords in your browser or credit card information stored in your autofill. And perhaps most disturbingly, some spyware can take control of your hardware. It can activate your microphone to listen to your room or turn on your webcam to watch you, often disabling the indicator light so you never suspect you are on camera. Spyware turns your most private space into a glass house. Often bundled with spyware is a less dangerous but incredibly annoying relative called adware. Adware is software designed specifically to throw advertisements at you. You've seen this before. Unexpected pop-ups that appear even when your browser is closed, or a browser toolbar that you didn't install and can't seem to get rid of. While it might seem like just a nuisance, adware is often used as a gateway. It tracks your browsing habits to build a profile of your interests, which is then sold to advertisers. Some more aggressive forms of adware will hijack your search results, redirecting you from legitimate sites to shady marketplaces. It's a parasitic way of making money off your attention, and it often comes pre-packaged with free software that you downloaded from a sketchy website. Let's move deeper into the shadows with the rootkit. To understand a rootkit, you have to understand the levels of an operating system. Most software runs at the user level, where it has limited permissions. Beneath that is the kernel level, where the operating system itself lives and breathes. A rootkit is designed to burrow down into the kernel. Once it's there, it becomes effectively invisible to traditional antivirus programs. Why? Because the antivirus software has to ask the operating system for a list of running programs, and the rootkit, being part of the operating system now, simply tells the antivirus to lie. It can hide its own files, its own network connections, and its own registry entries. A rootkit gives an attacker total, godlike control over your hardware. Removing a rootkit is often so difficult that many security professionals recommend wiping the entire hard drive and starting from scratch because you can never truly trust that machine again. If you have ever noticed your computer fan spinning at maximum speed while you aren't doing anything, you might be a victim of a cryptojacker. This is a relatively new type of malware that has risen alongside the popularity of digital currencies. Instead of stealing your data, a cryptojacker steals your electricity and your processing power. It uses your CPU and GPU to mine cryptocurrency for the attacker. While it doesn't damage your files, it slows your computer to a crawl, wears out your hardware faster, and can significantly increase your electricity bill. Sometimes cryptojackers are hidden in apps, but they can also be fileless, existing only in your browser's memory while you are visiting an infected website. It's a subtle form of theft, where you are the one paying for the hacker's profit. Then there are botnets. A botnet isn't a single piece of malware, but a massive collection of zombie computers. An attacker uses a virus, worm, or Trojan to infect thousands or even millions of devices across the globe. These infected machines are called bots. They sit quietly using almost no resources, waiting for a command from a command and control server. When the attacker gives the word, the entire army of zombies springs into action at once. They can be used to launch massive distributed denial-of-service attacks to take down entire websites, or to send out billions of spam emails in a single day. You might be part of a botnet right now and never know it. Your computer could be a soldier in a digital war, being used to attack a bank or a government agency while you are just watching a movie. We also have to discuss the logic bomb. This is one of the more dramatic types of malware. A logic bomb is a string of code that is intentionally inserted into a software system. It stays completely dormant and invisible until a specific condition is met. That condition could be a certain date, like a digital time bomb, or it could be something like a specific name being removed from a company's payroll. Once the trigger happens, the bomb goes off, usually deleting databases or crashing the entire network. Logic bombs are often the weapon of choice for disgruntled insiders, employees who want to get revenge on a company after they leave. It is a betrayal written in code. A more modern and insidious threat is fileless malware. Most of the malware we've talked about involves a physical file sitting on your hard drive. Fileless malware is different. It doesn't use files at all. Instead, it hitches a ride on legitimate programs that are already on your computer, like your web browser or your system's command line tools. It lives entirely in the computer's RAM, or temporary memory. Because there is no file to scan, most traditional antivirus software will never see it. It uses living-off-the-land techniques, using the computer's own administrative tools to perform its dirty work. This makes it incredibly difficult to detect and even harder to remove, as it leaves very little evidence behind once the computer is restarted. Let's look at the world of mobile devices. Many people think their phones are safe, but mobile malware is a massive and growing field. There are malicious apps that look like legit wallpaper galleries or simple utilities, but are actually designed to steal your SMS messages to bypass two-factor authentication. There are overlay attacks where a malware app draws an invisible window over your banking app. When you think you are typing your password into your bank, you are actually typing it into the hacker's invisible layer. On mobile, the permission system is your only line of defense, but hackers have become experts at tricking users into clicking Allow All without thinking. We also have to mention the concept of an Advanced Persistent Threat, or APT. This isn't just a piece of software. It's a long-term campaign. An APT is usually managed by a highly skilled group of hackers, often funded by a nation-state. Their goal isn't to make a quick buck. It's to steal a particular type of information, like military secrets or blueprints for new technology. They use a combination of all the malware we've discussed. They might start with a spear phishing email to get a Trojan onto one laptop. From there, they use a worm to move through the network, and then they install a rootkit to stay hidden for years. An APT is the ultimate digital spy. Patient, incredibly well-funded, and deeply buried. On the more technical side, we have things like exploit kits. These are like automated toolboxes for hackers. An attacker puts an exploit kit on a compromised website. When you visit that site, the kit automatically probes your browser, your plugins, and your operating system for any unpatched holes. If it finds one, maybe an old version of Flash or out-of-date Java, it immediately injects the appropriate malware through that hole. You don't have to click download or agree. Just visiting the page is enough to get infected. This is known as a drive-by download, and it underscores the importance of keeping your software updated. Every update you ignore is an open window for an exploit kit to climb through. Let's not forget scaremware. This is a psychological attack. Have you ever seen a window pop up on your computer claiming that 3,452 system errors were found and that your hard drive is about to fail? It usually includes a Start Fix button that, when clicked, asks you for credit card information to buy the pro version of the tool. In reality, your computer is fine. The software is just a fancy graphic designed to scare you. It's a digital protection racket. They create the fear and then sell you the fake cure. While it might seem obvious to some, it successfully targets thousands of people who aren't familiar with how computers actually work. Another type of malware that has become a major issue in corporate environments is the browser hijacker. This malware changes your browser settings without your permission. It might change your homepage to a sketchy search engine, replace your default search provider, or forcefully install extensions that track your data. It's a way of redirecting the massive traffic of the internet towards specific targets to generate fraudulent ad revenue. It is incredibly persistent, often reinstalling itself every time you try to change your settings back. What about the Internet of Things? Our smart fridges, our internet-connected light bulbs, and our smart cameras are all vulnerable to IoT malware. Most of these devices have very weak security. Hackers have created malware specifically designed to scan the globe for these devices and turn them into a massive botnet, like the famous Mirai botnet. This botnet was used to launch some of the largest digital attacks in history, taking down some of the most popular websites on the planet. Your smart toaster might be a soldier in a digital army, and you would never know because its malware doesn't show up on a screen. So how do we fight back? The landscape of malware is a constant arms race. For every new defense, hackers find a new loophole. But knowledge is your first line of defense. Most malware infections can be prevented by following a few simple rules. First, be incredibly skeptical of links and attachments in emails, especially if they create a sense of urgency. Second, never download cracked software or free versions of paid apps from unofficial sites. These are almost always delivery vehicles for Trojans. Third, Keep your operating system and all your apps updated. Those updates aren't just for new features. They are mostly security patches that close the holes malware uses to get in. You should also use a reputable antivirus program. But don't rely on it as a magic shield. Modern malware, especially fileless and APT-level threats, can often bypass basic scanners. Use multi-factor authentication on all your accounts. That way, even if a keylogger steals your password, the hacker still can't get into your bank account without the physical code from your phone. And finally, always have a backup of your important data. If you have an offline backup of your photos and documents, a ransomware attack goes from a life-altering disaster to a mere annoyance. The world of malware is complex and often frightening, but it's also a fascinating look at the creativity and ingenuity of both hunters and defenders in the digital age. By understanding how these programs work, how a virus hitches a ride, how a worm crawls, and how a rootkit hides, you take away the mystery. You move from being a potential victim to being an informed user. Think about the sheer scale of the digital ecosystem. Every second, billions of packets of data are flying across the world. And within that stream, millions of tiny pieces of malicious code are trying to find a home. It is a biological system in a digital world. Just as we wash our hands to stay safe from real-world germs, we have to practice digital hygiene to stay safe online. As you go back to your day, keep that internal skepticism turned on. Look at your downloads a little more closely. Check the sender of that strange email. Listen for your computer fan. You are the administrator of your own digital life. The more you know about the types of malware we've discussed today, the better you can protect the things that matter to you. Malware isn't just about computers, it's about people. It's about social engineering, greed, power, and curiosity. But by staying informed, you are doing your part to make the internet a little bit safer for everyone. Thank you for diving into the mechanics of the digital shadow world with me today. Stay curious, stay updated, and most importantly, stay secure. Your data is your own, and with the right knowledge, you can keep it that way. The invisible battlefield is always there, but now you know how to see the patterns in the code. See you in a safer digital reality.